Hey everyone, and welcome to the next Star Wars month video. Today I'm going to be reviewing Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Now, if you guys remember, for my 100th video a few years ago, I reviewed Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, which was the last installment of the prequel trilogy. Now, I think it would be wrong not to do the other two installments of the prequel trilogy, so I'm going to do Episode 1 now, and I'll be doing Episode 2 in the next video. So, let's get started. So, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, is of course set during the time of the Galactic Republic. And it's actually the last Star Wars movie we would receive in the 20th century, with it being released in 1999. Many people tout it as the worst Star Wars movie. One of the worst. I'm afraid I have to disagree with that. The planet of Naboo is blockaded by this evil organization known as the Trade Federation, headed by the Neimoidian Noose Gunray, who is of course their viceroy, and it was under the orders from the Sith Lord Darth Sidious. So, in order to help them, the Supreme Chancellor at the time, Finis Valorum, sends two ambassadors to help out, Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn and his Padawan, Obi-Wan Kenobi. And they eventually make their way to the planet's surface and they meet Jar Jar Binks, who, in my opinion, is possibly the funniest Star Wars character ever. I know some people find him annoying, but I personally just found him just hilarious. In this movie, anyway, in Episode 1, Jar Jar is definitely at his best. And so, they eventually manage to infiltrate the capital city of Theed and take the Queen away from the Trade Federation. But during the battle, their ship is damaged and they're forced to make an emergency landing on the planet of Tatooine. And so, Qui-Gon, Jar Jar, one of the handmaidens, Padme, and the astromech droid R2-D2 journey into the town of Mos Espa, where they try to negotiate a deal with a junk dealer named Watto. And then they eventually run into a 9-year-old boy called Anakin Skywalker and his mother Shmi, who are actually slaves that Watto owns. Anakin was instantly attracted to Padme, just fascinated by her beauty, comparing her to an angel from the moons of Iago. And to be completely honest, I actually rather enjoyed the actor Jake Lloyd in his portrayal of a young Anakin Skywalker. Most people, when the film first came out, I hear that Jake Lloyd, when he was younger, was actually bullied for his performance. Now that is truly disgusting behaviour. Nobody should bully someone just because they didn't act to their expectations. He did an okay job in my eyes. He never should have been treated so badly. Anyway, meanwhile, Darth Sidious still wants Queen Amidala to sign the treaty, which would enable the Trade Federation to legally invade the planet and take it over. And when Gunray and his cohorts reveal that they've lost the ship, Sidious reveals a secret weapon. His apprentice, Sith Lord Darth Maul, who is honestly one of the coolest villains in Star Wars. Just the coolest design. Red and black markings, horns on the head. He just screams evil. And so Qui-Gon is trying to find the parts to fix the ship, and so bets on Anakin in the Boonta Eve Classic Pod Race, which is one of my favourite moments which is probably my second favourite moment from the film. You'll see my first favourite in a few minutes. Anakin does eventually win the pod race, also besting the reigning champion Sebulba. And so Anakin has basically won his freedom. Unfortunately, Shmi has to stay behind. Qui-Gon was unable to release his mother. Qui-Gon actually sensed that the Force was strong with Anakin and theorized that he was the chosen one, who the prophecy states would bring balance to the Force. His midichlorian count was off the charts, more so than Master Yoda. Even more than Master Yoda. On their way back to the ship, Qui-Gon and his party are ambushed by Maul, who then duels Qui-Gon in the desert. But he does eventually manage to escape. and they do make it to Coruscant, where they discuss about dealing with the Trade Federation and their blockade. But Queen Amidala soon realised that it wasn't going to be much help because they aren't exactly doing anything to help her. And so following the advice of Senator Palpatine, she called for a vote of no confidence in Chancellor Valorum's leadership, meaning that he'd basically be kicked out of office and they'd bring in a new Chancellor. While that was happening, they went back to Naboo to try and win back the planet themselves. And so Queen Amidala then went to speak with the Gungan people to form an alliance. And it turns out that Queen Amidala isn't Queen Amidala. The real Queen Amidala was Padme, the handmaiden. She'd been using a decoy all along. And so she's able to convince Boss Nass and the Gungans to ally with the human population of Naboo to take back the planet from the Trade Federation. And so that all culminates in the Battle of Naboo. The Gungans face off against the Federation's droid army on the grassy plains, while Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and the rest of the Naboo security forces take back the Royal Palace, while Anakin stays behind in a cockpit of a Naboo starfighter. And that's when they're ambushed by Darth Maul himself, and the Jedi leave to take on Maul themselves. And to be completely honest, the Duel of the Fates, as this battle is called, is one of the best lightsaber duels in the entirety of Star Wars. It is just, fantastic. And I have to admit, can you just imagine yourself, if you were a kid going to see that movie when it first came out in the 90s, when Darth Maul first unveiled his double-bladed lightsaber, I'm sure fans' minds back then would have been blown because we had never seen a lightsaber like that before. And it made Darth Maul one of the toughest opponents any Jedi had faced. Meanwhile, the Naboo security forces kept on trying to take back the planet, and Anakin accidentally switched the starfighter onto autopilot, so he and R2 were sent straight into the space battle up ahead. And he would eventually be able to destroy the droid control ship, just deactivating the battle droids, and basically ending the battle, and so the Naboo basically win. But it isn't without a lot of casualties, because during the battle against Darth Maul, Qui-Gon is unfortunately killed. And Obi-Wan can only stand there and watch as he's trapped behind a laser gate. And so Obi-Wan then flings himself at Darth Maul with a new fury and ferocity over the death of his master. And he's able to actually slice Maul's saber in half, reducing Maul to only one blade. But then Maul force pushes him off an edge and hanging over a chasm, kicking his lightsaber down it, leaving Obi-Wan in a pretty bad situation. But eventually, he's able to use the Force to pull himself back up, jump over Maul's head, and use Qui-Gon's lightsaber to slice him in half, which was one of the coolest moments in all of Star Wars. And so Obi-Wan had killed Maul. Well, for now, anyway. So Obi-Wan is then too late to save Qui-Gon, and Qui-Gon asks Obi-Wan to promise that he will train Anakin himself. And so after the battle is over, and Chancellor Palpatine has been Palpatine has been made Chancellor, we then go to a funeral where Obi-Wan informs Anakin that he'll now be his master, and Jedi Council members Mace Windu and Yoda discuss the attacker and deduce that it was a Sith Lord. And it all ends with a celebration of peace. So all in all, this movie is pretty good. It's not the best Star Wars movie by any means, but it is certainly a good movie. And I highly recommend you go and check it out. The performers in the film, like Liam Neeson, Ewan McGregor, Ian McDiarmid, Natalie Portman, all those people, they did a fantastic job. And I highly recommend you go see it. I mean, Darth Maul, he's a very cool villain. And I highly recommend you check out Movie House. I mean, it's the first chapter in the Star Wars saga, so of course you'll need to watch it to see what happens, like, to get the gist of it all. But it's a good movie regardless, and I do recommend you check it out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Join me next time on Star Wars Month.